welcome back to another video. This is Akhil. I'm a real estate agent in the Los Angeles area, and these videos are documenting my journey towards finding the meaning. So, my current mission is to accomplish your real estate goals in the most effective and efficient way possible. You might be wondering what that means. If you go back 2 videos ago, I had a whole 5-10 minute tangent going over everything. If you're not going to go back to the video, well, just know these videos are documenting my journey. So, aside from all of that, let's get to the actual point of the video. So, first things first. Obviously, I came back from a trip, which we talked about last video, went to Japan, yada yada. I just finally closed this deal, actually as of like 25 minutes ago, on Reseda Boulevard. I have this other deal going on for that land listing that I have. I don't know if it's a deal yet. We're kind of just like going back and forth right now for the land listing. I'm still doing my cold calling. And yeah, stuff's going on. So, first things first, I guess we'll talk about the most pressing, the least pressing issue, which is the fact that I went on a trip. So, yeah, I went on a trip. I went to Japan, as you guys know, as said on the last video. It was pretty interesting. Obviously, the culture and society is completely different there compared to the U.S. Every society is, India is completely different in its own way. Japan's kind of different in its own way. I probably wouldn't want to live in Japan. Just, it's cool to travel to and cool to see. But what I noticed is like, they're a very rule-based society. Personally, I liked India when I went there. It was nice and corrupt. I felt free, I felt free in a way. Like if I wanted something, I could just pay somebody and get it. In Japan, everything is like really strict. I remember a really good example of this is I was at like a grocery store or some other store, and we bought like probably like $85 worth of stuff. And this was like the last day of the trip, so we had a bunch of cash that we just wanted to get rid of, and it was basically $85 in equivalent USD worth of stuff, and it was in yen, obviously. So it was like I feel like it was somewhere like maybe like 90,000 yen, something like that. So maybe $75 USD. So we're talking about $90,000 yen transaction, okay? And I think we were literally like 22 yen off in cash. So, and then he couldn't like make it go onto card. And then I was like anywhere else, 22 yen is like the equivalent of like probably 5 cents. Like anywhere else in the entire world, even if you're at Walmart and you were 5 cents off on cash, they probably would have been like, all right, it's fine. You're buying $85 worth of stuff. Who cares? Just go on. And this guy was like, I don't know, it couldn't compute to this guy that he could just let go of 22 yen. So we had to end up removing an item. It wasn't that big of a deal. I'm not saying he should give us free shit or anything. I'm just saying like, for what it's worth, like I scrambled out all of my pocket of all the coins and everything, and I had literally nothing. And for what it's worth, we're talking like 22 yen. I don't know. It's like so small, so inconceivably like it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make sense to follow rules in that point. They still follow the rules, and it's just like everything. I guess that's a pretty terrible example, maybe, but I don't know. Everything from like how everything operates, pretty much minute by minute. The trains everything is super on time. It's cool, obviously. It's really cool to see how like well organized society is. But I don't know. For me, it's not for me. Definitely not for me. I would never want to live there. It's cool to see, obviously. I don't want to shit talk anywhere I travel to. It's definitely a cool country. It's beautiful scenery and stuff. But the culture is definitely a very interesting culture. It's just like the people are very interesting. I don't know. Obviously, I was only there for 10 days. So how much can you really sell in 10 days? You only went to like a select few locations. You only interacted with a select few number of people. So obviously, that is not representative of the entire country. So I already obviously know that. But just from my experience, it seems to be like a very rule-based society that's not very flexible. And it's not like, it doesn't even seem like if you wanted to pay a bribe, like if you were speeding and you wanted to pay a bribe to a police officer, it doesn't even seem like they would even compute what you're trying to do by paying a bribe. It just seems like they're so I don't know, it's very cool how they're like super disciplined. Another perfect example of this is I was at the store, okay? This is like, we were traveling. It's like the stand, okay? There were probably like 6 people in line for the stand. It's like a food stand, okay? And we're talking about like, it was like, I think it was like 4:59 or some shit. They closed at maybe 5:59. They closed at like 6. Okay, and this stand, he has people lining up to give him money. Literally, people have their cash out in their hand because this guy doesn't accept card. So people have cash in their hand, literally waiting for this guy in line behind us. And we gave him money, we got the food, and then we went out, and then literally I think it hit 6 o'clock or something. And then he started saying no to everybody. People literally lined up giving him money. The food is already ready. He doesn't have to cook anything. You literally just take it and give it to them. And this dude was saying no because officially he was closed. Like this dude could have gotten free money. Like literally, there are 5 people in line. All he has to do is take the money, give him the food. He doesn't have to do anything. And this dude is like, no, I refuse. That just to me is like so surprising. It's like, bro, you don't have to be that strict on the rules. That's like, you have customers right there. It's like literally free money at this point. You're gonna have to waste the food or something because like you're closing down the shop, but the people are literally right there. All you have to do is take and get. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know, just some weird stuff. I mean, I guess with that, you also have like some good positive things. Obviously, like everything is very efficient. Kids walk home on their own. I would never see like there was a literally 5-year-old like little girls walking home on their own, which is like crazy to see if you think about it. Like in the U.S., if like a 5-year-old kid was by themselves, fucking walking on the street, it'd be like kind of, it's like wild to think about because like, you know, that would never happen in the US, but it's like a very, very rare occurrence in Japan. You know, I guess it's like, in some ways it's like the opposite of like India because like India is like complete chaos. And that's what I kind of like, you know, it's like, you can kind of do what you want. You have freedom. You can bribe people. You know, you can get shit done. If you want like a, you know, like a certain registration or some shit, you can just boom, bribe somebody, call a fucking day, done. You can kind of skip out on everything, cut the line, do this, do that. It's very efficient, very nice system. I like that way of doing things. You know, you don't have to go through a bunch of bullshit regulations and bullshit shit. But Japan is basically the opposite of that, where you have to like, everything is regulated. Everything is very like, you know, regimented. You have to stick to the rules for everything. It's also very, from what I saw, it doesn't seem like it's very nationalistic. I mean, I didn't see very many like Japanese, I saw more US flags in Japan than I saw Japanese flags, I feel like. But I don't know. Anyway, it's cool. I mean, I went to a few different places, Tokyo, went to like Kyoto, Osaka. It was kind of cool. I mean, there's some cool temples. I mean, I'm not really one to travel anyway, because like, what is traveling really? You just see a bunch of buildings that are existing everywhere. I mean, you eat food. For me, the food, I mean, Japanese food is like, for me, it's just not my thing. I don't eat seafood that much. I don't like it. And everything else is like, but you know, for me, it's not personally for me, but you know, it's definitely a cool place. Yeah, it was cool to like kind of reset, you know, take a break, I guess, and come back and do stuff. But yeah, definitely is a very interesting country. The culture is very different, you know, very strict rule following. And maybe it's not as nationalistic because post World War II, we're talking about like Japan had a complete governmental change. And they went to like kind of like a democratic type of government because the U.S. actually, I believe the Constitution was written by a U.S. general or something like that in Japan, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, but hey, it was cool, I guess. It was cool. And it was definitely an interesting place. There are a lot of, I mean, I feel like the point of traveling is to spend time, undivided time with people that you like your family members, right? Because like when else do you have 10 undivided days to spend with somebody? Like most of the time, like even for me, like on a Saturday, Sunday, I maybe have an hour or two that I'll spend with like undivided time with my family members. But like on a trip, it's completely undivided. I don't have, because like on Saturday, Sunday, I'm still, you know, working, holding open houses, doing this, making calls all the time, thinking about this stuff, sending out emails, texts, every single day of the week. But when you're on a trip, it's completely undivided attention. I'm kind of like putting my phone down. There's not really much that's going on anyway, so I'm putting my phone down, not really doing anything, going out and travel, having conversations. So, you know, it's cool in its own way. I mean, it's definitely not like it gets boring fast, right? Like traveling as a whole gets very boring very quickly. It's like within a few days, it's like how many times can you really eat at a restaurant, you know, kind of go roam around and look at random buildings and structures. Like it's cool to see structures that were built hundreds of years ago, but you know, how relevant is that to today and what effect does that have on my life? And not really. I mean, like what is the difference between seeing it from a photo and reality? And then once you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. Once you've seen one shrine, you've kind of seen them all. It's kind of like seeing a sunset. Once you've seen one sunset, you've seen it every time. I mean, there's not much, it's not like the sunset's going to be new or something. It's pretty much the same thing. You eat noodles once, you pretty much have an idea of what noodles taste like. I guess that's just like my perception of reality is like, I don't really see these things as that important, but hey, to each their own. It was cool. It was fun. It was mainly fun because I was with my family, but Japan's cool too. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about is the closing of the Reseda property. So, interesting thing here for this Reseda property is we finally closed. Technically, we closed yesterday. It recorded yesterday, but then the file was still open, which I didn't understand. And then this morning, the escrow agent reached out to me. She's like, "Oh, we actually didn't get the full funds. We only got one wire, not the second wire." I was like, "Bro, wait, hold up. Like 2 days ago, she told me that they got all the buyer funds, we're ready to close." And then we did the final walkthrough on Monday. Today's Wednesday. And everything was all good. And yesterday we officially recorded. And I was like, wait, hold up. So I don't understand. How did we record if you guys aren't fully funded? That it just doesn't compute in my head. Like, I just don't understand how this escrow officer decided that we could close, but we weren't fully funded because we didn't get the wire yet. We got one wire, but not the second wire. I was like, wait, what the hell? How is this happening? But luckily, I mean, she called me like a few times. The buyer works at night, so he sleeps during the day. And it's like, I guess, I mean, I had to call the buyer, I guess, wake him up. It's kind of annoying. It was like this whole thing. And then they received the wire. So they received the wire like just literally like right now. So he already sent it a couple days ago. It was just taking some time to transfer in. This whole like dumb shit. But anyway, officially, obviously it's closed. It's all good. Everything's done. Yeah, there's that. It's done. The deal is done. I guess I'm just complaining at this point, which is basically useless because complaining does nothing. And nothing else is really going on there. Some things I learned from this Reseda deal. I mean, I learned it was a slightly different deal because it was an all cash deal. So I learned a couple different things. It was also a townhome. So I guess, yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's different. The thing is, this deal felt a little bit easier compared to the last one because the last one there was like a bigger amount of inspections. There was a lot of shit going on. This one was kind of fairly simple. Nothing major came up in the inspections. It was just kind of, some small stuff. There was a little bit of mold that had to be remediated, but seller agreed to remediate it. It was nothing really that crazy. So it was a pretty smooth deal compared to the last one. The last one was like fucking, I didn't know if it was going to close. It was like one day it was like this, and the next day, oh, boom, 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 this. And then it was like, nah, nah, nah. It was also because it was my first one. So it was like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this one was, compared to the last one, simpler. Yeah, other than that, yeah, now that this one's closed and the buyer is now getting that property, that is good. I got the same key. I don't know if I put this in the last one, but I got a cutting board last time for the last buyers as a closing gift. It was like a cutting board, and then it has their names engraved in it. And then it has my name engraved in it in a tiny like little thing on the side. Like, Akhil Reseda Deal, 424, blah, 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 my number. I don't know. I might put a picture on it. It's kind of cool, actually. It's pretty cool type of thing. The next thing that's going on is the land deal. So what is this land deal? If you remember, like freaking 6 months ago, I listed a piece of land. I expected that it would either never sell or take 100 years to sell. Well, it's been 100 years. It's been like 6, 7 months now. And so the neighbor who lives nearby, he literally lives next door actually, and he is interested in the piece of land because obviously it's next door to him. He'll have a double lot. The thing with this piece of land is it's like in the Hollywood Hills. That may sound like it's awesome and cool, but it's just like which means it really is. It means it's basically impossible to build on because it's a single lane street. You can imagine it's literally a 1-lane street, and there's houses up here, so people have to come through, like to and from traffic has to go through the single lane street, and then it's a fucking hill, and these houses are built on a hill. So this house is like this lot is like a 5,000 square foot lot, and it's like this. It's literally a freaking downhill. So how the hell do you build? You have to like either close the road entirely for a couple days in order to build a foundation, or you have to like really have like some type of like genius level IQ to build a house on this lot. And basically the situation with the seller was like the seller is actually currently like he was a lender. It was like a group of people. It's kind of like a company basically who was lending on this person who bought this land, and then they bought this land at a way higher price than what it's actually worth. This person was a developer who was going to develop. He had all these plans written up. He, I think, went bankrupt, and then they had to foreclose on him. Now they're going to sell the land, but the land's not nearly worth what he bought it for. And they basically listed a price. We're kind of been going down for like the last 6 months in price, and finally we're kind of at where it's probably truly worth. We're still a little bit far away from there, but we're kind of close to where it's worth. The neighbor is kind of interested in it, and he's interested in buying it because obviously he's a next door neighbor. He wants to have a bigger lot. He can build stuff on there a little bit easier because he has his property and he can do stuff. He can also just have that as a kind of double lot. He can use it for whatever he wants to use it for. Neighbor's interested, but obviously like 6 months ago we were too far in price. It's just never going to happen. Now we're kind of getting closer. Neighbor now is, as of last week. When I was in Japan, actually, I was having this call with a neighbor. He's like, yeah, let's make an offer. I'll do it. Let me secure my funding or whatever. And he's got all that secured. We wrote an offer. So now it's just in the seller's hands. We'll see if these guys are interested in negotiating or if it's just too far for them or what the situation is. But everything else other than that, that's pretty much the situation with the land deal. It's nothing too crazy, but it's kind of just a situation. Okay, also I probably want to talk about... So basically, I was cold calling up until right before I left to go to Japan. So that's like, I left on the 5th, came back on the 15th. So I left, and I think I called up to about the 4th. and then I left in the 5th morning. So I've been cold calling pretty good, and then the second I came back, I started scrubbing again and then cold calling. So I've been cold calling pretty good. I actually just pretty much exhausted all the leads for cold calling. Like yesterday, I finished calling. So I've been cold calling pretty good. Main thing I've been trying to focus on is being louder and also being as clear as possible when I speak. And for whatever reason, it's over the phone, obviously. If I'm too quiet or if I'm not clear or I'm speaking too fast, then it doesn't really transpire correctly to the other side. So I'm really trying to make sure that that is done correctly. And yeah, that's pretty much the cold calling situation. I didn't obviously cold call over the trip. I kind of basically, I really didn't do anything in the trip. There wasn't actually much to do. Most of my follow-up cycles are longer than 10 days anyway. I did all my follow-ups right before, but by the time I came back, that's kind of like the normal cycle of how long it would take me to follow up. Basically, all I missed out on was lead generation, a few open houses, 2 sets of open houses, and obviously just like random stuff. I mean, I wasn't really showing anybody recently. I haven't been having any tenants yet, so there's nothing much I really missed out on. So actually, it happened to be the perfect timing for me to go on that trip. And yeah, overall it was a good trip. The one thing that sucks about traveling, okay, it's an 11-hour flight from here to Japan. I don't know why I'm bringing this up again, but it's on my mind. So it's an 11-hour flight from here to there, an 11-hour flight back. And it's super annoying because 1, I hate long flights. 2, it's just super annoying to like travel over there, right? And then the time zone's different. So like the sleeping is all weird. I know I'm just complaining at this point, but I'm just saying traveling is like, I don't know how these people, like Mr. Beast, for example, I have no idea how he does it. Where he travels from here to here to here, and then one day he's in this country, next day he's in this country, filming for this, doing that. Oh my God, his life must be literal hell. Like literally. It doesn't even matter if you have comfortable seats on the plane. It's horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. You can't sleep correctly. There's like something to be said about just having, you just wake up in the same bed, you go out, you work out, then you go to work, you do your work, you come back, and you sleep in the same bed. There's something to be said about that. Like how much, I can just imagine how much like some of these people go through, like especially some of these creators, man. Oh my God. Traveling like from place to place to place, your mind must be like going like freaking crazy because especially when you're in a lack of sleep, you can barely decide. You're all like just like messed up and oh my God, I don't know how the fuck he does it. But anyway, there's that. I also wanted to talk about one more thing that I forgot to mention. Japan has trains, which is cool. One thing I noticed about Japan that was way cooler than the US is the fact that you don't need a car to travel around. It's very easy to just fucking, like boom, and you got a train, and you just fucking hop onto a train, switch trains, and then get to your destination that way. I think that's very efficient. And I mean, I wish there was a more alternative transportation method in the US, because cars are so fucking expensive. Just as like an alternative transportation system in the US, because there's something to be said about trains. But there's also something to be said, I get the car thing, because the thing about trains is you kind of have to like not be as loud because there's other people around. You have to like, switch trains. You have to think about it. You can't really like if you have a taxi, it's very, like if you have an hour-long taxi, it's very easy to like, okay, taxi's there, I can sit down and do my work. When you're in a train, you're like, there's a bunch of distractions around you, people are talking, and then you have to switch trains so you can't really do any work, and it's kind of annoying. So I guess it's like a give and take, You have the freedom and flexibility of a car to go wherever you want, whenever you want. And then you have like the freedom to not take a car with a train where you don't. I don't fucking know why I'm going into this. But anyway, yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic there. And yeah. Anyway, and driving there is also on the right side, which is interesting. I mean, on the left side with the right side steering wheel. I drove there too. It was pretty cool. But anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is my Zillow experiment. So the second I came back here, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I want to target buyers and sellers. How do I do that? I really want to get as many buyers and sellers as possible, like how I have right now. I want more buyers. I want to close something every freaking week. How do I do this? Like, what can I do? I kind of rethought, because I always have extra time after cold calling. So I'm like kind of really thinking, okay, what the hell do I do? What the hell do I do? So I just made a list of like different things, okay? Actually, I'm going to pull up that list right now. All right, so I was going through a bunch of different ideas. And I just started listing random shit. And I started listing ideas to come up with ideas of what can I do. Obviously, I had the ad idea and the cold email idea, but I just wanted to reiterate everything I had and everything I know and what is the best move. Because I have all these random shits that I do like on the side, and it's always never right, and it's always dumb because I do something and I never complete it. So I was like, okay, fuck all that shit. I know I'm doing cold calling permanently. That's a given. I'm always going to be calling leases, right, for as long as possible. So, other than that, now that I have extra time, what should I do? Should I be cold emailing? Should I be working on ads? Should I be doing something else? What should I do? Okay, and so I came up with a bunch of cool ideas. Okay, and I already made my decision on what I'm going to do, but let me just go over all the ideas. Some of these are like mentally challenged because I was just kind of like putting everything down. But and I'll tell you which ones I put no to and yes to and why. But anyway, so idea number one is trying to provide a low-cost value item that leaves a good impression for people, right? So like, what kind of value would I provide? Maybe a list of home services people, comparable sales or market data, off-market property information. But I chose no for this one because how would I provide this value, for one? And then the second thing is I won't exactly be getting buyers and sellers this way because it's not strong enough for me to convince buyers and sellers to work with me. It's kind of just providing value, and maybe I potentially might get somebody out of it. But it really depends how I'm providing the value, and there's not really a medium for me to provide value. Do I call people and just give them stuff, or do I run an ad, or what am I supposed to do here? So I put no for that one because I didn't understand. Idea number two was work with developers again, like Ben, or like the developer I worked with before. So the developer I worked with before there was like a 2-month period of time where I was sending this guy properties every single day. We were making tons of offers and stuff like that. And obviously he backed out of a few deals, and that was kind of, once he started backing out of a bunch of deals, like you would see the place on photos and videos, and then he'd make an offer and we'd get accepted, and then he'd see the place in person and he'd get back off, and then once he even saw the place in person one time and then he backed off another time. It was just like super weird. It was super chaotic, and I was like, what the heck is going on? You keep backing out of deals for no reason. There's a lot of time investment for me if you're just gonna I'll go to the place, take a video, do all this stuff, make offers and all this shit, negotiate with the agent, figure out a price, finally get accepted, and then just for him to be like, never mind, let's back out. So I was like, is this really worth my time? Okay, and then the reason I said no is because I won't meet lots of clients that way. There's no surety on when or whether or not I'll get a sale. It's a full-time type of thing, and I have to stop my cold calling, which wouldn't help. And developers only care about themselves, which is true. But I may get the positives of this one is you may get a sale after a few months, but it wasn't worth the negatives. So I put a no for that one too. Idea three. This is kind of what I'm already doing, but this is kind of the revelation I had as I was noting down ideas. I was like, okay, real estate leads are primarily from referrals and past clients. So get as many people in touch with you as possible. That was like, do as many rentals and open houses as possible to get people in your CRM, because that is where real estate leads come from. And I agree with that. So the third, I guess that was kind of just like the overall goal. The goal is to get people to buy and sell, and the best way to do that is to have more people that you know. So how do I get as many people in contact with me as possible? So idea number three was run ads again, and this one is maybe. And the reason is because I wanted to run ads, but this time instead of making like ads for like, oh, work with me, or oh, let me list your condo or a rental, or let me help you find a condo, let me help you do this. Instead, it'll be, let's try a free price analysis of your property as an ad. And then free rental estimate. This sold near you. Here's free market data. Yeah, basically run an ad that's trying to target people with free stuff. Like, let me give you a free market estimate. Let me give you a free home estimate of the value of your home. Let me give you a free list of rentals. I don't know, something like that. Now that I'm saying this out loud, it kind of sounds stupid, but maybe that'll work. I don't know. I have to test it. The next idea, which I thought of, was trying Google ads for renters. And the reason I said no for this is because it's a completely new thing that I've never done before, and it's going to be a steep learning curve. And although it may work, I have no idea if it will work. So let me try to do stuff. This is like a tertiary option. If I try everything in the entire world and it doesn't work, then I'm okay. Maybe Google ads could work. But since it's a completely new thing with a completely steep learning curve, I think I'll stop. I won't be doing that for now. Okay, idea number 5, which is actually completely illegal, which I didn't realize, and I did it, and it was illegal, which I'll talk about now, is list a property on Zillow, okay? Have only one photo. Make it very underpriced for the area. In the description, say this property is fake. If you are looking for this type of property, I am an agent who will help you find a place. Yeah, you can probably see where this is going and how this is very illegal. In my head, I thought it's only for rentals I'm specifically putting in the description that this is not an actual property and that I'm an agent who can help you find properties. But yeah, this is considered misrepresentation. So don't do this. But yeah, in my head, this was a genius idea. I would list a property on Zillow, like in Santa Monica or something, a rental on Zillow, and it'd be like what would be worth like $20,000, like $20,000 a month. So like maybe like a 4,000, 5,000 square foot place, multiple bedrooms, fully renovated in Santa Monica, huge yard. It'll only have one photo. In the description, I'll list it for like $15,000. It should be worth $20,000, but I'm listing it for $15,000. Then a ton of people are gonna be like, whoa, $15,000, 5,000 square foot, what the hell? And then people are gonna click on it. And then the description is gonna say, this property is not real. I am an agent. If you're looking for rentals, I have rentals. And then people are gonna reach out to me and I'm gonna get real estate lease leads. So this was a genius idea in my head. And in theory, this is great, but actually this falls under misrepresentation and misguiding. It's considered a bait and switch tactic. So I didn't know this until I listed on Zillow. And I did get a few leads, and then I listed on Zillow for like a day or two, and I listed the second one on Zillow again for another day, and then like at the same time. And then one of them got taken down immediately, and that's why I listed the second one. And I didn't think like, they took it down within a day. Maybe that means that this is not allowed. But obviously that's not what went through my head. I was like, oh, they probably took it down because they saw that it was only one photo or something. So let me list another one. So I listed another one. I got another couple of people reaching out, and then that was taken down too. So now I was like, hold on, wait a minute, is this illegal? So I did some research, and I realized it's very illegal. And if money is involved, it can be considered misrepresentation. Luckily, all the people who reached out to me were accidental reach outs. Basically, like they reached out to me and then they never responded. So I'm assuming they thought it was a real property. I texted them, hey, I have rentals for you. And they were like, oh, no, basically. So none of the people ended up responding. So luckily, I didn't do anything illegal. But moving forward, if anybody is thinking, oh man, that's a genius idea. Well, it's not, because you're actually going to get your license revoked if you do that. So that was a pretty bad idea. Even though it seems like a great idea. Like in theory, that sounds genius, right? Like you just list a property on Zillow. Because my thought process was like, okay, I'm already listing other people's properties on Craigslist. These are real properties that I'm listing and I'm getting lease leads. But nobody uses Craigslist. So what if I could do the same thing on Zillow? Well, everybody who already has a listing already lists on Zillow. So instead of doing that, let me just list a property that doesn't exist, but I'll just say in the description that it doesn't exist, but it's more like an ad for people who are maybe looking for an agent. But whatever. It sounds good, but definitely highly illegal. So, okay, that was end of that. So the next idea that I came up with was marketing on Google. So another Google Ads idea, which I said no to. Another form of the ads idea, saying, do you have questions about renting or about real estate? And running an ad on Facebook about that. Number 8 was leaving. Oh, this one was a genius idea too, but I don't have time for this idea. But this is literally genius. This is a 1,000 IQ idea. Obviously, I'm a genius, so I'd expect myself to come up with such a smart idea, but this is like really smart. So where do rich people congregate? Okay, where do rich people congregate? Obviously, they go to like these nice clubs, nice restaurants and shit like that, right? But mainly, yeah, rich people congregate in these clubs. But where's a communal place? Because I can't get access to like really expensive clubs. I'm not about to figure my way out and maneuver around and bribe somebody to get into these clubs for the 8 seconds to talk to a drunken rich guy. That's not going to work. But what will work is this, okay? Going to parking garages, okay? Because parking garages are always open. If you look at that, like even the ones that are like gated, you can still, park your car in or, find your way in or something, like through a janitor or something, get into a parking garage where very expensive places are. So like maybe like a really expensive restaurants are there and it's a really high-end area, or it's a really high-end office building. Like for example, my office building has a ton of expensive cars, right? Most of those guys are really good agents, but there's a ton of expensive cars, right? So I go to these places that have really like these parking garages, and you can probably see where this is going, where all these really expensive restaurants are. And then I take a bunch of my cards and flyers, and either I start leaving it on all the expensive cars, or as soon as people walk in and out to get their car, I pitch them like, hey, are you looking for a rental? And this is like, if you think about it, it's 1,000 IQ, because how else are you going to get to have a conversation with these type of people? You're probably not. Like if you door knock, they're just not going to answer. If you try to call them, they're just not going to answer. You're going to get like pushed to their assistant or some shit who's never going to let you go through. So, and you can try to send mailers, but nobody's ever going to read them. You can try to run ads, but most of these people don't ever look at ads or respond to ads. And the next best way is to be referred, which they will respond like if they're referred to you, like, they're looking for something, somebody else who you helped before referred them to you, then yeah, that works. But unfortunately, I don't have any $50 million transactions that I did that I have people to refer to me to. So the next best option is going to parking garages where these dudes park and then pitching them there. And this is like a 1,000 IQ move, but the problem is, obviously, this would need to be like a full-time thing. And obviously, I don't know how successful this would be, if it would be like absolutely like a catastrophic failure, or if it would be really, really successful. I'm not sure. It's very questionable on the success rate. But my assumption is, if you do this enough, you'll probably get something out of it. But yeah, you could probably go to like expensive areas, outside expensive restaurants. You could pitch them. I have houses for rent. I have home services people if you need it. So yeah, pretty genius idea. All right, next one. Okay, so put looking to rent sign in an open house. I could do that too. I normally talk to everybody. Not really needed. Idea 11. Add PS meme thing in email. Okay, so Alex Hormozi always does this PS meme thing. So he has, at the end of all of his emails, he puts PS, and then he has a link to a meme that's related to whatever he said. So if he was talking about, like, I don't know, saving money through making a system more efficient, then it'll be like, at the end of the email, it'll be like, PS, when you realize how much money you saved, and then the meme will be like a very surprised face or something. And that actually makes you read the entire email so you understand the context, and it makes you want to click on the meme so you get to have a quick laugh. So I started adding that to my emails too. So I guess that's a yes on that one. Start asking wrong numbers if they need anything in real estate. So I get a lot of wrong numbers when I'm cold calling, and I should start asking them if they need any real estate needs. Because most of the time what happens is, like, I call them, they say, fuck off, and then I'm like, or like, they don't say that, but they're like, oh, sorry, there's a wrong number, and then you send the call, basically. Or just say, oh, sorry to call you, blah, 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 and the call. But now, I'm thinking about, I probably should do this, honestly, but a good tactic might be like, okay, oh, well, sorry, it's a wrong number. Do you need anything real estate in Los Angeles? Maybe. I mean, I'm calling them anyway, so could work out. Should probably start doing that. I probably will. Idea 9. Okay, well, this should be like idea 13, but I don't know why I put 9. Anyway, restart cold emails. So I chose no for now, because even though I got replies, I got no good replies. I also need to do it every day. I need to have more emails than I currently have, which is impossible because Jenny is getting rid of Vulcan again. So, yeah. Cold email is not that great. Anyway, that's basically all the stuff I'm going to do. I was thinking about doing. The things I'm really thinking about doing is the Facebook ads one, where I'm going to try to market as, like, the ads as, like, do you need something? As in, like, do you want a free house estimate? Do you have any questions? I'm going to try to do that. See how that works. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I'll try that. We'll see how all that stuff goes. We're taking it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, right? You just got to get the win every day, a winning day. If you win enough days in a week, you win the week. You win enough weeks, you win the month. You win enough months, you win the year. You win enough years, you win your life. So that's what Andy Frisella always says. Also, I wanted to talk about one more thing. Just a little while ago, I was watching a nice podcast, a new one, between Alex Hormozi, Chris Williamson, and he referenced the point that most good times, if you think about like a really good month or a good year or whatever, it's really just a few good minutes that you think about concurrently for a repeated amount of time for the entire month, week, year, whatever. Same thing with bad times. You think about a bad month, it's just like a couple bad minutes or a few bad minutes in a couple different times in that month, and that you just keep thinking about for the entire rest of the month. 95% of the month was a normal month, but there's a very select few moments that happen to be bad or not that great, and your mind distorts it into the entire month being bad. And I feel like the mind distorting things is like a distortion of, it's like when you look into the past, because everything is certain and is finished, everything always seems like it's happier in the past, because it's a distortion of reality, because it's already certain, the outcome is certain, so there's no need to worry. But in the future, or the present, the outcome is not certain, right? Which is why you have worry, because it is not certain what is going to happen. If you knew the future, then obviously you wouldn't even worry about anything. And it's also the same thing about desire. Your brain will naturally create desire for certain things when in reality you can choose, like not wanting something is as good as having it, right? And I think I referenced this in the last video, but remembering that is very important, because there's so many things that your brain will create desires for unnecessarily. But if you just remember that not having something or not desiring something is as good as having it, right? If you just delete the desire altogether, then you can really selectively focus on a few different desires that you actually care about, and it makes the headspace clear up a lot. So I don't know why I even decided to go into this, but yeah, there's that. I wanted to talk about one more thing, which is the team. So I've referenced this before, but I'm pretty strongly considering, at this point I pretty much decided that after probably this land deal, if it ever goes through, if it doesn't, then before the land deal, I'm probably going to end up just leaving the team. And the reason for that is because there's quite a few reasons for it, but I don't feel like the team brings as much value as I spend for it. And by that I mean I'm basically giving a 30% stipend of everything I make, and then 50% on this transaction. But I'm giving a 30% stipend on everything I make to the my team lead specifically, which is quite a bit. And I don't feel like the 30% tax is really justified, considering like most of the time I'm doing most of the work on my own anyway. And I already get the leads, I kind of understand the process. So I think it's pretty much time I'm ready to kind of move on to being my own solo agent. And I don't really have a problem with like lead gen. I don't really need her for anything specific. If I have any questions, it doesn't mean that I won't. If I want to go on a listing presentation, I can bring her along for that specific deal. But I think every single transaction, getting a permanent stipend is, I think I don't need that anymore. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the plan there. I think in the next couple weeks, let's see how this thing goes with this land deal. If it goes through, then I'll wait till it closes and then I'll leave. And if it doesn't go through, then I'll just fucking, I'll probably start. I'm going to start talking to the manager at the other compass or something to see if I even can leave or what situation is there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, other than that, yeah, we talked about cold calling, we talked about the Japan trip, and the difference of culture there and how it's completely different there and how it's cool. I'm not hating on the country. I love the trip. Very fun. The city, probably I wouldn't live there. It's probably great for like if you wanted to like raise kids or something, because they'd be like in a very orderly environment. They grew up pretty disciplined. I'd say like the vast majority of people there seemed very disciplined, and compared to the U.S. Also, one thing I noticed is that like I think Alex Shimozy said this, but 95% of people are like what you'd consider attractive if they're in the healthy body mass index. Like as in like if you go to America, I would say about 60% of the people just seem unattractive because they're fat as fuck. But like if you walk into a Walmart, it's like 90%. But if you go to like Japan, everybody is like normal human size. So it's actually very interesting. It's like most people like naturally just look more attractive, like just in general, because they're just not fucking fat as shit. So I just thought that was interesting. That I think Japan, because mostly you're walking a lot more and the diet is not as bad. Most people are way more healthy, so the lifestyle is definitely better. So I think if somebody was Japanese and they wanted to raise kids, I think Japan would probably be a better environment to raise kids than America, just because of the influences. They probably won't end up like a fat, undisciplined slob, which a lot of Americans are. But yeah, but I'd say like the best Americans are a lot better than the best Japanese, in the sense that like there are some very disciplined, hardworking, strong Americans, which is like the whole point of America, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's questionable whether it actually would be better. In fact, maybe America would be better because you want to have that freedom. You want to have I don't know. It's very questionable. It's a very nuanced argument. I don't feel like going into it right now. But yeah. Anyway, it was fun. We talked about that. We talked about Zillow experiments. We talked about closing of the Reseda lease, or Reseda Deal, Reseda closing of the townhouse, and how there was some weird shit that went on with Escrow. And I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, on to the meeting. Find the meeting. 1 day, 1 week at a time. Gotta go. Keep going. I've been considering and contemplating. Oh, one more thing. Oh man, I always do this. But one more thing I forgot to say is that I always have the feeling that it's going so slow, right? Like I feel like I look at, some of the other successful people in other various industries, like Mr. Beast is a perfect example. And I'm like, God damn, bro, they were so successful at such a young age that it's like, when you compare yourself, it's just like you're obviously going to be a huge deficit. But for me, what I like to always think about is like, okay, one, I'm in a completely different industry. So it's very industry specific, right? If you're in a new emerging industry, you're going to be able to be successful far faster compared to if I'm in real estate. And also, two, the only reason that I feel like it's going slow is because I'm expecting something from the universe that it should be fast. If I just say it will take however long it takes, then there is no expectation, which means there's no delta, right? As long as I continually do the right actions that I feel like will help in the long term, there won't be a delta between how I feel and how long it takes, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think, especially when you look at like the exceptions, not the rule. The rule of business is like it takes 25 years. You get your ass beat for most of that time. You're not rich until you fucking at the end of all of that shit, and then you're rich, and then you're able to do other shit with that, and then build and scale other companies. That is the general rule of thumb in business and in life. There's obviously, if you look at the exceptions where it's like somebody made tons of money or did tons of work early on in their life and then got really, really, really successful or wealthy at a very young age, then that's more of the exception, not the rule. But yeah, I think it's really just a mind game that your mind tries to play on you. But there's no point in quitting real estate now. I'd say at least 3, 4, 5 more years before I can really probably 3 years before I can change my focus onto anything else. The reason is because of how much time I've invested. And I would probably say that real estate is not the industry to get into if you want to make tons of money. And the reason is because it's at least being an agent, even in most things in real estate, it's a very saturated industry. It's a very commoditized industry. And the reason I say that is because everything from the agents to the lumber to build houses to the developers to everything is very, very hyper commoditized because it's been around for so long. So a lot of it is price based because everyone can pretty much offer the similar type of thing. Every developer can offer the similar type of house results. There are very, 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 very few developers that can actually differentiate from themselves from that. And even then, it's questionable whether there's actually much of a difference. Very few agents can actually show a differentiation other than experience. Very few like house materials people can show like what is the difference between one lumber and another lumber. It's very minor, the companies I'm saying. I feel like real estate is very heavily commoditized because everyone needs real estate, so there's a lot of demand, but everything is since there's so much demand that's already been filled, it's very hyper commoditized. So in order to be a very successful new person in this industry, you have to go through tons of time, effort, whereas in a new emerging industry like YouTube, for example, or like some of the other industries that already exist, it's not hyper competitive. YouTube now is probably hyper competitive. Like if you're going to start a brand new channel now and try to compete with the already existing creators, it's going to be very, very challenging because it's already existing. So if you really want to make tons of money, the best way to do it is probably to be in something that is not as competitive and not as commoditized. So the next thing I do will probably be in something that is not, it'll be in a new variant at least, or a new market of something that is not as hyper competitive, because starting something that's super in a very competitive arena is just asking yourself, it's just like shooting yourself in the foot and giving yourself a liability from the start. It's already hard enough, right, to operate and do something successfully. You're adding like 1,000 extra pounds of weight when you're doing it in something that's already hyper competitive, just because there's so many other competitors. It's good to gain skills, especially early on, but if you're going to actually build this large business or anything like that, you probably need to be in a new emerging market if you want to be successful in any way. That's why you probably don't see very many successful gas car startups, because it's already a very hyper competitive market. The industry is already served. You don't really see any new hyper successful like window companies, right? You don't see any new hyper successful, I mean, maybe there might be, but most of the time they're operating in a completely new vector, right? Completely different type of window, completely different type of, like, that's why Tesla was successful. They're the only electric car manufacturer for a very long time, right? It was a completely new market altogether, electric cars. It was still the car market, but it was electric car market. They didn't try to make gas cars, right? Because it's already a hyper competitive market there. But anyway, and most gas cars now are commoditized, right? What is the difference between fucking Toyota and Honda? Toyota Corolla and a fucking Honda Civic is like the exact same fucking shit. Like if you go into the car, same functions, same features, different brand, same shit. Everything's basically the same. So yeah. Yeah, you want to be in a new emerging market. Anyway, if you want to build a giant company that's new and I don't know. Anyway, aside from this is a very long conversation that you could have on this point. But yeah, that's it. Onward to the meaning, onward. And yeah, that's it. That's the video. And then next couple weeks, what I'm looking forward to is probably some more cold calling. Hopefully I can get some more leads. Hopefully this land deal, we figure something out there. And yeah, I really need some more business to come in so I can close more deals, so I can get faster, get better, and yeah, onward.